Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the City of Quinte West Committee of Adjustment meeting. The committee is made up of 5 members. I'm a public member. My name is Harm Zelstra. I'll be the chair this evening. And on my immediate left is public member Doug Phillips. And on his left is public member Paul Lafferty. And on Paul's left is public member David Jesse, and on our far left is Councillor Jim Ellier. On my immediate right is Kelly West, Manager of Planning and Acting Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustment. Because this is a hearing under the Planning Act, when the committee gets to the applications for consideration, each application will be brought up in the order listed on the agenda with an opportunity for public input given prior to discussion and consideration by the committee. If you wish to make a comment, please raise your hand to be recognized by the chair. And if anyone wishes to receive a copy of one of the notices of decision, please use the pad of paper provided by the sign-in sheet to indicate your name, mailing address, or email address, and which decision you would like a copy of, and it will be sent to you. If anyone has not signed in on the sign-in sheet, please do so, as this is used for the minutes of the meeting. Could I have any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Could I have approval of the agenda for today? Moved by Jim, second by Doug. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Approval of the minutes of September the 12th, 2024. Moved by Paul, second by David. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. First application is a minor variance application, application A10-24M. The owner is Skyline Real Estate Holdings Incorporated, care of Matthew Organ. The agent is Brooke Burlock of Zelinka and Preamo Limited. Legal description is Block 9, Plan 39M-943. The civic address is 125, 141, and 165 Appledene Drive in Murray Ward. And the purpose of this application is to permit a reduced minimum lot area of 145.38 square meters per unit instead of 156 meters per unit, and an increased maximum building height of 13.82 meters instead of the current maximum building height of 12.4 meters in order to accommodate a slight increase in the number of dwelling units. Just a little bit of background on this application. In 2021, the previous owner of the property applied for a minor variance A12-24M to permit an accessory building in the exterior side yard with a setback of 7.5 meters, a maximum building height of 12.4 meters rather than the required 11 meters, and a minimum lot area per unit of 156 square meters rather than 160 square meters. Minor variance application A12-21M was recommended for approval by the planning staff and subsequently approved by the Committee of Adjustment August the 12th, 2021. The previously approved minor variance A12-21 ultimately permits the development of 3 4-story apartment buildings consisting of 54 units each for a total of 162 units. However, the minor variance application proposes to reduce the minimum lot area required per square meter, as well as an increase in the overall height of the proposed apartment building. The applicant's agent, Zelinka Priamo Limited, indicates in their planning justification letter that the general footprint and location, along with the four-story height of each apartment building, would remain generally unchanged. The revised site plan indicates that the accessory amenity building and associated communal outdoor facilities would be relocated to the southeasterly quadrant of the property, resulting in some reconfiguration of internal parking areas. So we have dealt with this property before and granted a minor variance. Now they're seeking a larger variance. And we have Brooke online here, and she wants to give us a presentation. Did you want to do that, Brooke? Or?
Yeah, good afternoon, members of the committee. My name's Dave Tanner. I'm Brooke's colleague. I'm a partner with Zelinka Priamo, a registered professional planner. I'm going to do most of the talking this afternoon, if that's okay. Can you just confirm that I'm coming through okay?
Yep.
Excellent. So, obviously this is relatively familiar to the committee. We are the planning consultants for Skyline REIT, who purchased the property back in May of 2022. They're motivated to effectively facilitate and construct this development. They've pulled together a different team with respect to builders, planners, and general contractors, and as a result, we're looking to make some modest changes to the approved development. I have prepared a short visual presentation this evening. I think that may be available to you as well. If someone in the committee could pop that up, that'd be much appreciated. Excellent, thanks. So, first of all, we've had an opportunity to carefully review staff's report and obviously welcome the approval recommendation. We're hopeful of a positive endorsement from the committee this evening. If you could just flick through to the next slide. So just to give a little bit of background, I know that you're familiar with the site, but it is currently undeveloped and vacant in structure. The surrounding uses are a mix of residential, institutional and commercial uses. The lands are designated and zoned to permit an apartment development. And as we indicated, we've been retained to facilitate the current proposal, which seeks minor modifications to the approved apartment development. Now, it's important to and I'm sure you understand, the starting point here is the approved development. So we're looking to make modifications and minor modifications as we see it with respect to the actual proposal, and I'll get into a little bit more detail in my presentation of that. I just wanted to reiterate as we skip through the next three slides that Skyline and their general contractor, Hyde Construction, have a long established history in delivering on high quality developments of this nature. And the following slides show some recently completed projects. The first one here is in Listowel for a similar rental housing apartment development. That's the top image. The bottom image is the amenity building that is available to residents. If you skip through to the next slide as well, please. This is another development that they've had constructed recently in Armpra. If you skip through to the next project as well. So this is one that has been constructed in Stratford. That was a series of 4 apartment buildings, exactly the same as what we're proposing here, with the amenity building shown in the graphic at the bottom of the page. Skyline Retail, thousands of rental units around Ontario. They're well respected within this marketplace. and in combination with the proposed construction company, as I said, we have a number of completed projects, but we also have quite a few that are currently under construction throughout Ontario at this point. So if you could just shoot through to the next slide, please. So I hope you can see that okay. This application seeks to amend the approved apartment development. The top slide is an excerpt from the approved site plan, and below it is the proposed site plan. I just thought that was useful for comparative's sake to just let you know how similar these projects are. Really, all we're looking to propose here is to increase the unit count of each of the three approved four-storey buildings by 5 units. So a total of 15 across the site. As a result, there would be a more sort of average mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units, more or less 50-50 in terms of that, which obviously helps with the affordability component. But I think it's important to note that the footprint size and the location and the height at 4 stories of each of these buildings remains generally unchanged. As indicated, the single-storey detached amenity building moves from the centre of the site through to the southeasterly corner, and that includes the associated communal outdoor facilities. And there would be some modest reconfiguration of internal parking, circulation, and landscape areas, noting that all of the access locations remain unchanged. So just through to the next 2 slides. This one shows the height. Obviously, we've indicated that there's 2 variants we're seeking based on this proposed intensification proposal. The first one being a reduction in the minimum lot area of about 11 square metres per unit, and then an increase in the height of the overall height of the building by about 5 feet. All other zoning regulations apply. If you could skip back previously to the slide, so just for justification regarding the proposed lot area unit calculation, the proposed density is land, obviously the land supply and providing to the housing within this approved built form, while still continuing to provide all the requisite design facets such as landscape buffering, communal open space, the required number of parking spaces and access and circulation. In terms of the graphic in front of you with the height, as I indicated, it's a modest 5-foot height increase, and that's really attributed to do a slight increase in the floor-to-ceiling heights on each story. But I think it's important to note that there's no change in terms of the approved 4-story height. That remains unchanged, and the buildings, in terms of their position, are still focused well away from Capital Drive. Just to the final slide in conclusion, from a policy viewpoint, the development is supported by all levels of current land use planning policies, which encourage residential intensification in locations such as in a form of density that's been previously approved and it's continued to be proposed. Any site-specific planning details will be addressed through the future required site plan amendment application. It's our professional opinion, and it's also that of municipal staff, the proposal meets the relevant Planning Act tests, is appropriate and desirable, and represents solid and sound land use planning principles. As such, we would respectfully request that the committee supports staff's recommendation and approves the application. Next slide, thanks. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them now.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Hannon? I will note that we did get a couple of letters from residents across the street, basically, of the proposed apartment building. And I think what they're, I won't read it because it's quite lengthy, but I don't think they were aware that the application prior to this application was already approved, and that the building site was designated for four-story units. So I understand, or I realize that this new application does increase the number of units that this property originally had, but I don't see it being a major issue. I don't know if the other committee members feel that there's a big issue with it.
Well, Mr. Chairman, certainly the gentleman in his presentation indicated that they'd be more affordable units, and that's what we're looking for people to rent apartments and having access to, quality building as far as that goes. But I'm sure that for a starter family or somebody on their own way, it's probably going to be a good choice to partake in.
These are these units to be rental units, or they're for sale units? Pardon?
Rental.
Rentals?
That's what I thought he said,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep. No. I don't know if there's anybody else in the audience here who wants to maybe address it, I'm not sure, but.
Any comments or concerns from the public regarding this application? Hearing none.
If not, Mr. Chairman, I'll support the recommendation as presented.
Moved by Jim, seconded by David. That application A10-24M by Skyline Real Estate Holdings Incorporated at 125, 141, and 165 Appledine Drive, Plan 39M-943, Block 9, in the former Township of Murray, now the City of Quinte West, is hereby approved to permit a reduced minimum lot area of 145.38 square meters per unit instead of 156 meters per unit, and an increased maximum building height of 13.82 meters instead of the current maximum building height of 12.4 meters. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. The next application is minor variance application A11-24M. The owner is Robert Price. The legal description is part lot 10, concession B. Civic address is 101 McMaster Road in Murray Ward. And the purpose of this application is to seek relief from the city's comprehensive zoning bylaw to permit a reduction of the lot frontage from the required 45 meters to the requested 42. And some background on this one. The subject property is located at 101 McMaster Road, and the application relates to the consent application that we had, B12-23M, which was approved on March the 9th, 2023. Planning staff did not support the consent application, and the variance is requested for the severed portion of the property. Any comments or concerns from the public regarding this application? Yes, sir?
Good evening, committee. I'm Bruce Clark. I'm the owner of 75 McMaster Road, which is the
Within,
lot beside 101
okay,
McMaster Road. And I have no problems with the reduction, but the only thing I want to make aware and be sure of is that on the notice of decision on March the 9th, 23, that item number 7 still exists?
on the conditions,
Yes.
have you got that?
Yeah, that's the draft conditions. So yes, Mr. Price has 2 years to fulfill all 7 of those.
Number 7.
Number 7, all 7 he has to complete within 2 years of the approval date.
Gotcha, okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. May I ask, it says to the satisfaction of the city, who is the city? Are we talking about a department, are we talking about you people, or
It will be Public Works. We'll review that.
Public Works?
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay. May I forewarn you that maybe there could be a little more thought put into it when they do it?
What do you mean by thought? They'll be governed by what the engineering standards are for the city.
Right. It's supposed to be done by a professional engineer.
Correct.
Correct. Now, I just want to make you aware that we have a flooding condition from lot 101 McMaster Road now. This new lot is now going to be a buffer between the two of us. But the water condition is still going to exist because at no fault of Rob's, the water flows from Rob's place. It'll flow through the new lot, still to my place. Now, backing up again, this is coming from the bush behind Rob's place, from Power Line Road, from the farmer's fields. It's all water over land. And I'm sure you might review some of the pictures that I left last year. So I just want to make sure that when it's considered that the people involved understand this situation. That's all I ask for.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be covered under the site plan control. And,
It doesn't have to go through site plan control because it's a single lot, and so we can't do that under the new provincial legislation that was
Okay.
passed, one of the multiple ones that was passed. So we have to do it through this lot grading plan that will come in, as Mr. Clark said, through a professional engineer, and
yeah.
Public Works will review it and sign off on it.
So would the engineer and the planning, the public works, would they be made aware of where the water's coming from? Because magically, you can't stop the water.
No. I'm going to say that the professional engineers, which I am not, they will have to consider where they're pulling the water, where water is coming from and where they're putting it.
So it'll be in-depth type.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying? Gotcha. Okay, thank you very much.
okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Yes, sir.
I believe, as part of the conditions and notice of decision from last time, I have submitted a preliminary, professional engineered plan of drainage for the property. Of course, things will change, and as a new homeowner or home builder, will build on the house, it'll have to be approved city standards and, of course, prevent any sort of flooding on Mr. Clark's property.
So you're Mr. Price?
Yes, I am, sorry.
Did you submit that to Anne Marie?
I gave it to you personally, actually.
me?
Yes. Anne Marie was on sick leave.
Yes, she still is. Okay.
I have a
Well,
copy
I
of it.
apologize. I will look for that.
It was a
with
large
Anne Marie.
11 by 17.
With Anne Marie off, you can imagine
I
that
have a
I'm
copy
bombarded.
with me if you'd like.
You want to give me another one? Sure,
Okay.
yeah.
So the engineer's report's already done?
Sounds like it. yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the. And I read on that report done by Ainsley Group out of Kingston.
Yep.
They show recommendations for well location and septic location as well.
Okay. Okay, I will have this for the Public Works. Thank you.
By the way, may I ask what is item number 7 on the notice of decision? I didn't have a copy of it with me. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, everything's good? Any comments or concerns from the committee members regarding this application? As noted, we will be going against the planning department, but not against the provincial policy statement. So once again, we're faced with two levels of government that don't quite agree on how things should work. I think before Quinte West's official plan is updated, we're going to run into this quite regularly, so.
Well, we got approvals today, so. I don't know the nuts and bolts of it yet, so I'm sure they'll, stay tuned.
Yeah. So I get a mover and a seconder to,
I'll move.
okay.
So
Moved by
approve?
Doug, seconded by Paul.
for approval?
For approval?
For approval?
Yes.
Wanna make that
It was
clear?
for approval, right? Yeah, okay,
So then do you want to read out this one? Then, 'cause that-
okay.
read out that one.
That application A11-24M by Robert Price at 101 McMaster Road, Part Lot 10, Concession B, in the former township of Murray, now the city of Quinte West, is hereby approved to permit a reduced minimum lot frontage of 42 meters instead of the required 45 meters. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Sorry, who moved and seconded?
Moved by
Paul?
Doug, second by Paul. I think that was it, right?
Yep.
Moved by
okay.
Paul.
Next application is consent application B26-24S. Owner is Duran Homes Limited, Hastings Enterprises Incorporated. Legal description is Part Lot 2 and 3, Concession 6. No municipal address, and it is north of 36 Rosewood Drive in Sydney Ward. And the purpose of this application is to sever 1,027 square meter parcel of land for lot addition purposes. The proposed lot addition would add a strip of land to the existing draft-approved Rosewood Acres subdivision lands. The severed would have no frontage. It would have a depth of 188.8 meters and total area of 1,027 square meters. And the retained would have a frontage of 45.7 meters, a depth of 663.2 meters, and a total area of 21.2 hectares. Any comments or concerns from the public regarding this application? Yes, sir.
My name is Frank Brugnell, and I sold this piece of land to Doran Homes.
Yes, sir.
And I went to see Jamie because I have a first mortgage of $2,700,000 roughly. And I said, how are you going to discharge the mortgage on that piece of land? And he said, we're not, it's too small to deal with. I said, no, I said, it needs to be dealt with because you're going to put those pieces to several lots and sell them, and it'll be put in absolute land titles as far as I know. And I think they should straighten up the financial end of it because it does lessen the security I have. And I'd like to deal with that now, not when it's
Okay, so you hold the mortgage on which parcel?
the whole thing.
The whole thing? Okay, and you want,
I want them to straighten out, I want them to pay me $300,000 as lesser value of the land.
Jamie's online here.
Jamie, you're on the panel here. You want to open your mic? There we are. Can you respond to the query from,
So, through consultation with Van Huzen, who's our solicitor, we recognize, that there's a mortgage on this piece of land that's gonna be ultimately transferred to Doran. Through consultation with Ben, we determined that in order to transfer the lots down the road, we would not be able to do it with two vendors, which would be Doran Homes, which owns the main part of the subdivision, and Hastings Enterprises, which owns this little sliver. So our plan is to, upon registration, we would do a partial discharge to satisfy the partial payment to Frank on the mortgage. And then that would be his, because he raised the question about his security interests. That would be the standard practice in a situation like this, would be to do a partial discharge on a portion of lands. It would be no different when lands get developed into individual lots. Each individual lot would be discharged at a prescribed rate based on the agreement that we have in place.
But I don't agree with that.
So at this stage, really all we're doing is we're asking the committee to approve the lot addition from the little sliver from Hastings to Doran. It still has to go through all the legal processes, has to get a survey done on it, and then at that point, then the mortgagee would have to provide a discharge, in terms of discharge to Doran, and then we would satisfy that on when it gets transferred.
But once that land is in absolute land titles, you can't do you can't get it back, you can't do anything, so.
Well, at this stage, Frank is not in land titles. If that process has not been completed, it would still, this little sliver still needs to go into land title to be able to be added to the subdivision. So it's a multi-part process that we have to undertake. But the real problem in the issue or the situation is that because Hastings Enterprises is not a vendor of record with Carrion, in order to sell that lot with a house on it to the next person, the lot has to be all entirely in Doran's name, and the only, and like I said at the beginning, through consultation with Ben Van Huzen, our solicitor, this is the most expedient way to deal with that dual vendor situation. Basically, the ultimate would be that this would all be, this little sliver would be under Doran's control, and at that time, then it's only one vendor, which is a registered builder of Doran Homes, is transferring that, the lots as a whole.
But at that time,
But in terms of your security interests in the property, Frank, you're protected because in order to get a, like Ben would have to do, ask you to provide a partial discharge on this little block of land before it gets obviously transferred to Doran. It's still in his name, it's just, this is just paperwork preemptively. We have to do the land titles. We have to get this little sliver of land added to the draft plan so that it's complete. And then in order to do that completion, that's when you would have to sign off and say, yeah, I agree that that little sliver of land is gonna be deeded to Doran, and that my mortgage security is still in effect, and that I want X dollars for discharge of that little piece. No, we can't take that piece of land and just add it to our property, like, the legal processes is all.
Jamie, I know that once it's in the absolute land titles, I can't object to anything anymore. So why would I wait that long? If you want the land, buy the land.
No. The land has to go into land title so that it can be put into a draft. I know that, you know that process.
Jamie, I know lots of things that have happened since I sold you that land, and I don't want to get into that, so I would make sure that it gets done early, not late.
Right, because at the end of the day, the land is, nothing's happening with the land tomorrow. This is a process that has to happen over time. And one of the steps that has been identified by Ben and using is that we have to get this piece of land attached to Doran's eventually. And at that time, when that process is going to take place, you will be requested to provide a partial discharge on that Louis sliver. But as far as land title, all title does just indicates that you can put a draft line on. It doesn't have any other process. And Ellie, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's basically just a planning process.
I went to Watson's and asked him what they were doing, and he said they were putting it in absolute land titles, if I'm saying the thing right. And that once that happened, you couldn't object, you couldn't change it, it was absolute.
No, in terms of the objection is that you can't come back and say, well, I don't want a subdivision in my backyard. It's that type of thing. It's not an objection to what happened with the land in terms of moving it from person A to person B. It's basically just to say the property is eventually going to be developed into a subdivision, and that they're identifying the boundaries of that particular parcel or any particular parcel that goes through a land title process. That it can be then put into a draft plan, and then ultimately, once all the services in place, can be divided up into whatever number you want, right?
Well, I don't agree, but you wouldn't talk to me before, so here we are. I object to this going through.
Thank you. It sounds like we've got a legal situation here. It would, in my opinion anyway, this is just my opinion, it should have been sorted out between you, Mr. Vergenhill, and Duran Homes before this application was made.
I went there just specifically for this, and Jamie and I talked, and I offered him a couple of scenarios, and he said no. He said if we have to pay, I'm not going to do it.
Committee members, what do you think we should do with this? I obviously, who owns the land now?
They do. That's why
Hastings Enterprises.
Duran Homes owns the land now, all of it?
no, Hastings
Hastings
Enterprises.
Enterprises owns Clipper, and Doran owns the land.
So how did you manage to do that?
So the, like,
So I think Frank owns that.
committee, it's a.
It's all one parcel.
Pardon
Yeah.
me? I missed that part.
It's a legal situation.
My comment, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, would be to defer this and see if they can sort, excuse me, and sort out the differences or whatever, and then if they wanted to bring it back, I know Kelly, maybe you have better guidance. It seems like there needs to be some things sorted out here, and
Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
know, I don't think any of us know the total details on either side, but we want to make sure we protect Frank, but also Jamie, that everybody's got their ducks in a row to make sure they can move forward in the proper manner, but.
Yeah, okay. Are you okay with that, sir?
Yeah.
But I think the committee has to understand is that we own the land, Hastings Enterprises owns the land, and Doran is the recipient of the land, and the process has to go through the lawyers before it can, so let the lawyers sort of get.
Exactly. That's what we're suggesting.
But why stall the application?
the money situation and who owes who what,
Yeah.
I think is
Yeah.
outside of the planning rationale. We're okay with this little sliver moving over to create a better alignment for those remainder of the lots in Rose Hill from a planning perspective.
But we will, it was suggested we defer this. Do I get a motion to that effect?
I'll move it, and I'll need a seconder, I guess, to,
I'll second it.
Okay,
Thank you.
Till we get straightened out.
yeah, yeah.
Listening is too much.
So have you got something written up for that? No,
No, you'll just have
just
to.
defer the application?
Yeah, you can just read the first part and just say it's deferred.
Okay, is decision moved and seconded by this board that application B 26-24S, the owner is Doran Homes Limited, Hastings Enterprises Incorporated, Part Lot 2 and 3, Concession 6, no municipal address, north of 36 Rosewood Drive, be deferred until legal issues regarding this matter are solved. Thank you. Thank you, Jamie.
I'm just letting you know, you guys don't have the authority to do that. But that's just my personal opinion, you'll probably hear from our lawyer, thanks.
Did you catch what he said?
Yeah, I did.
call the vote, Mr. Chairman.
Hate get caught in the middle of these things.
Yeah, sounds like.